Hey TCS TV viewers, it's Dave from the Camera Store. Today we're talking about two different wireless solutions for audio. These days we are creating content online for so many different reasons, but getting quality audio has always been a bit of a factor, especially when you're out and about and you want some kind of wireless freedom. So that's what we're talking about today, are two very popular wireless kits. Now Evelyn can't join me today, she's feeling under the weather. She brought Drew from behind the camera, who's going to talk about these two products.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the DJI Lav Kit and the Rode Wireless Go 2, two of the most popular wireless lav kits currently on the market.
And we're going to run them through their paces when it comes to range, functionality, and of course audio quality.
So let's get into it. Yeah? No?
That'll do.
Yeah?
That'll do.
Okay, so why are these such a big deal? Back in the day when we first started recording the show, getting one person with good audio on camera, let alone two people, was a bit of a challenge. We had an entire rig with a rail system that we kind of affixed to the top of the camera. So nowadays we have things like this where they're just insanely small, compact little systems. Like the transmitters are basically nothing. They just slip in your pocket. Half the time you forget that you even have them on you. And while yes, there is a use case scenario for the larger, higher grade transmitters, ultimately for general content creation, YouTube, TikTok, stuff like that, these are incredibly cost-effective and very simple to use options that still provide that really good quality audio that everybody needs. However, there are some key differences between these two specific units, and so that's what Dave and I are going to get into now.
Now, I really like the size and convenience of these two little units. Now, the big question we get asked right off the bat is, how good is the range of these units? Now, DJI claims it's good for 250 meters, and Rode claims it's good for about 200 meters. In our sort of unofficial torture test that we put these two mic systems through, we walked across the bridge, across the river, and we were in direct line of sight to the receiver of the camera, but probably 125 meters away. Now, what we found is that as long as the receiver was in direct line of sight of the camera, we had really nice, clear audio. But as soon as we turned our back to the camera and the transmission had to go through our bodies, we lost that signal. Here we're like 125, 150 meters away from where Evelyn is, and I don't know if it's the water, if it's the clear line of sight that we have, but we're actually getting signal here unless I turn my back. And as soon as I turn my back, then we probably lose signal like that. You can't hear me. So as soon as I turn around like this, I'm getting a nice clear signal from a really far distance. Now, we also tried it in a different situation where we were shooting through some trees in the forest and the woods. What we did find there is that the Rode certainly outperformed the DJI sort of consistently. It was probably pushing about 40 to 50 meters, where we found the signal would lose on the DJI at about 30 meters. So if I turn my back like this, thumbs up or not. So
I can't even see the camera at this point. We're just gonna keep going. I can kind of see them. Okay.
But when it comes to the sort of real world use cases of these microphones, you're going to be within 15, 20 feet or 10 meters of the camera anyways, where you can communicate with your videographer and see if the camera's recording. So as far as the distance goes, there's no one clear-cut winner between these two systems. They both have surprisingly good range when you need it, but you just got to make sure it's a really nice clear line of sight.
So transmission range is all well and good, but ultimately if you're 200 meters away and your audio still sounds terrible, well, what was really the point? Audio quality is, of course, extremely subjective. You not only have to worry about environmental factors, how close you are to roads, and things like tunnels, echoes, distance of the microphone from your subject in some cases. It is going to be very, very tough to just say one is inherently better than the other. So we've ran these microphones through a number of different shooting situations, and we've been using them for quite some time. What I've kind of found is there are some characteristic differences, at least when using the onboard microphones. One of the things I've found is the DJI does have a little bit more clarity and forgiveness when using it. You can pin the microphone a little bit lower on someone's suit jacket and still pick up very good quality audio, versus the Rodes have to be a little bit closer. The DJI had a little bit better clarity in terms of words and separations, whereas the Rode had a little bit more warmth to the tones, picking up bass notes a little bit better, and overall was a little bit more pleasing for me to listen to. But ultimately, what we have found is both units are capable of producing some great quality audio, especially for things like content creation.
Both these units are really easy to work with. They come prepared out of the factory. You don't have to worry about anything like that. But there are some big differences between these two systems.
Yeah, probably the biggest one that everyone talks about is the charge case for the DJI. It's like the #1 thing that we hear about. There are third-party options available for the Rode, but it is really nice that the DJI just comes with it, and it extends the battery life out to like 15 hours.
It is so convenient. I mean, if you're moving from location to location like we are often doing, we throw it in the case, everything's self-contained, and it's charging while we're mobile, which is really nice.
Yeah, the internal battery life of the Rodes is 7 hours versus the DJI's 5 hours. I mean, when have we ever recorded for more than a few hours at a time? It's pretty crazy.
That's true, but we have found that both of these units are very subjective to temperature. So when we were shooting the other day and it was -5 or 10, battery life was horrible on these. You're actually holding a hot pocket onto the Rode itself, right? And the battery level spiked right up, and it was great after that. Now, having a wireless option is so great to be able to explore the space and be free to move around without having to worry about being tied by a wire. However, what if that signal happens to get broken for whatever reason? There's too much interference in the area or something like that. Well, both these units have the ability to record internally as well.
Yeah, the DJI has up to 14 hours of internal recording time. The Rode boasts 40 hours of compressed internal recording time.
It's compressed though.
It is compressed, yeah. So the audio quality does drop a little bit. Nothing too crazy, it's not unusable, but it should be noted there. It comes down to audio quality. While it is very subjective, you're compressing your audio anytime you upload to Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, etc. And so as a good example, for our independent sections, I was using the Rode Wireless Go 2 and Dave was using the DJI. So feel free to go back and see if you can even find a difference or hear an audible difference between the two different sections. Additionally, there is one other thing. The Rode, unfortunately, only allows for either recording or muting via the control button at the very bottom, versus the DJI does have a very nice independent record button on the side, as well as a tally light.
Yeah, which I really like. When I push this button here, we see the light turns red, and I can tell that I'm recording on the device itself. I really like this feature. If I'm too far away from the camera or I need to just record my own audio independently, I can certainly just grab this unit and go.
The DJI is a very refined system, which does make sense. It came out, 6 months after the Rode Wireless Go 2 dropped. So they had some time to kind of iron out the little kinks or the issues that Rode was kind of running into initially. Now, the DJI system isn't infallible. So for example, the touchscreen at the back is very small, and operating with the gloves or anything like that is pretty much next to impossible. So in cold environments, admittedly, a lot of these are starting to sound like Canada specific things, but the Rode does represent a very cost-effective system. It is cheaper than the DJI, and it does, I would say, 80-90% of what the DJI does as well.
The only thing with Rode is that if I need to buy a USB-C cable, I have to buy that separately. If I need to plug it into a Lightning, I need to apply that separately. And I just have a small case or a bag full of all kinds of miscellaneous cables. DJI has done a very good job of making it very usable, that if I'm working with multiple photographers or multiple content creators, I just have this one little case that carries 90% of what I need. Overall, both these units are very effective for what they're designed to do and create content and be able to explore a space in front of a camera without being inhibited by being tied down and wired to a camera. However, we want to know what you guys think. Have you had the chance to use both these systems yourself? And are there pros and cons that we haven't touched upon that you want to bring up to us? Make sure you leave comments down below.
Follow them both on Instagram.
And if you're new to our channel, please hit that notification bell, and we'll catch you again next time. Evelyn can join us today. She's feeling a bit under the weather, so you got to put up with this guy today.
You want to do it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't die. Don't.
We've been using Rode almost.
Do you prefer one over the other, and why?
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. let us know in the comments below. Follow us both on
Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Before we fully wrap up today's episode, both Drew and I work at the Camera Store. It's a great source for all your photo and video needs. Now, if you like this content and you want to see more of our recent stuff, click up here. And if you're Canadian and you want to shop local and support Canadian, click down here at thecamerastore.com.